When it ends, there will be butterflies. By Nickollo Winters. Chapter 1. On days like these, I sit by the bay, watching the water make things drift away. These memories course through my empty mind as the colors change from black to white. It's a brand new page, a nice crystal white, never tinted by a cooler pen which will write. The birds are near, jumping through the trees. What I hear is just the breeze. There was a crunch from behind me that snapped me out of these memories. My surroundings were bright, even though could have sworn it was night. It was dark in my mind, even after everything seemed fine. During this time, I thought about all the talks of art, game design, agriculture, and even video games that I have gotten into when talking with my friends. Soon, all of us will be taking this final walk together across the stage, as it will soon be our new chapter of life. The games played, with all of us being rather different with each group, but still interesting ones, as I was the one to find these friends around me. Still managed to relate to them all in different ways. Many hardships plagued our lives, yet we solved them all together. Yet I feel empty that I wouldn't have one by my side when we are to walk across the stage that I have been ready to cross. It's a shame I won't be on stage with them, but I know all of them will do well, whether it is a competition, game designing, art, agriculture, and even gaming. This lunch break was soon to be over as I stood up preparing to head to class. My friends needed some time today, and even I did too. It was peaceful, just a lovely day outside. My hair was laying still surprisingly well as butterflies were fluttering by, and the same bird just sat there tapping on the window. I heard the bell ring and went inside to find that the halls were somewhat clear, making it rather easy to head to class. A thought about that one friend crossed my mind as the memories of him made me happy, yet miss him more, knowing that I'll never see him again. When I was a young child in 7th grade or so, was it 6th? That is something I don't fully remember, as in the time zone, but he gave me a note telling me about how he was sorry, but he couldn't handle it anymore. He found that he was trans at a young age and told me about it, and after he came out to his parents, his situation at home got so bad that he ended himself not too long after. I found him on the bathroom floor when I went to go check on him and found him in a puddle of blood as his last bit of life slipped away. He always loved stars, so any of the hair accessories or jewelry with stars on them that I would get to my hands on would remind me of him. The hair clip was that I always carried around, and so the closest I have felt him since he left. And I have no clue why I feel like that, but I don't know how I would feel if I was to lose it either. I walked to class thinking about him and almost ran into a door that was on the way. Honestly, I didn't want to be in class that day, and neither did one of my other friends, which, before I stopped hanging out with them so that they could get their stuff done, they found out that they had no class that they had to go to. I got freedom from class by asking the teacher and just wandered to school with her for a while before going into a rarely used hallway and sitting with her just talking. It was nice talking to her after everything I was thinking about, especially with how nice it was to hang out with her since she had the perfect amount of energy. when we had way too much for my taste and Evelyn had too little. Are you ready to graduate? Isabel asked after a while. She was tapping on her screen, talking about all her time wasters and games that she would play, and might have brought up some things about class, but to be honest, my mind wasn't completely there. I'm not too sure. To be honest, I enjoy my time here with you guys as I sit here and just talk to you guys. I don't really like the school completely, yet I don't hate it either, I said, kind of not fully understanding my words, yet I knew it was true. And may I ask for some help on something? She asked, pulling a game out that I've never seen before. Honestly, we couldn't find what we were looking for, and I just honestly was happy that she wanted my help and that I could distract myself from the thought of all the thoughts of that friend soon. Enough fifth period's time wasted away, leaving me to be able to go to sixth to talk to a friend of mine from back then that always made me laugh. We had loads of fun during campaigns he hosted in classes in which he would draw in that art style that was beautiful yet had its own character. This class wasn't his favorite, yet we always tried when asked to and gave a lot of effort, which showed. And other times we would see them drawing, you would see them drawing intricate drawings and art in their spare time. Hey, Inaya, take a look at this, he said, and showing me a statuette he made that was cute in a way yet weird in another. I was proud of it, and honestly, I get how it is to have stuff I'm proud of. It looks really nice, Altru, I said. The nickname was from a joke that we'd made when I first got his name and, of course, kept forgetting. But his name was Altrin. It was always something that we bonded over, and even though I was seen as someone that only left the house when they needed to do something or never bothered to leave the house. They like I was still seen as probably a good friend to them. The assumption wasn't too bothering for me after all. It wasn't completely wrong. I would hang out with my friends, getting coffee or watching movies or walking around and talking. Or even playing in arcades, but those were all for our benefits. The competitions that me and another friend of mine did were honestly, I guess, for fun. I did some competitions for myself, and I would have at least someone there, even if it wasn't really family or too close, but Gio was always there. Gio got the nickname from the name being Georgie and me being lazy when saying the name. Competitions were fun, and we would spend a good chunk of time when not in competition, just walking around and talking, just having fun. Sometimes even exploring places together, like a 5-story library or a city shopping block that I was almost never going to see anyways before, and because he was pushing me to look at it since he knew my interests. Sometimes I think he knows my interests better than I do. Altrin and I just sat there and talked about our time together and about fond memories and even art for the longest time. knowing that there was very little left to do in class. Soon the bell rang, and I ran into another friend named Kaya, who had a lot of energy, and we talked on our way to the buses. Honestly, I mostly talked to her and would sometimes hang out with her in class, since the classes were just different methods of the same class. After getting to the bus, I sat with Winnie as she chirped happily about music and just talked to me as I sat there content to listen. Sometimes her energy was infectious and would get me all chirpy as well. And sometimes I didn't drink enough caffeine, so I'd be tired, yet somehow chirpy. Honestly, talking to her is such a pleasure that I question how everything would be when the school year ends. Would we still talk? Or would we fall off the entire sides of the earth? We sat there talking the entire way to our bus stops before we had to get off the bus. I walked home down a not too long road, with the warm air being obnoxious to me, yet alright. When I got home, I opened my chat rooms and talked to friends of mine that were rather nice to talk to, no matter what would happen. One is an early bird, yet a night owl at the same time, and is a great amount of fun to talk to. Honestly, I would find her to be rather intelligent, yet neglectful to her own health, yet she does so well. Sure, it's not the smartest decisions, but it's his decisions. And some of them are kind of funny to me. We would sit around joking for hours sometimes, sending memes back and forth, and it was like we never went to different schools. The other one is great at animating and game creation, making everything pretty. She was also to graduate with me, yet we never really had time to sit around and just talk anymore due to how busy we got doing our own things and how we had somewhat different interests, yet we would still work together sometimes. Our conversations are just simple, yet definitely a plus to the day. Sometimes I would talk to a nice friend of mine who I also don't see often that does his own thing, yet I trust him a lot. He was great to talk about feelings and just an honest and great guy to be around. Each time I would talk to him, it always made me so happy, no matter how small our talks were. There was another guy that I really talk to, who I understand is busy, but when we'd talk, it always meant a lot. We used to be close, sitting there with the old groups doing makeup and drawing and sometimes doing math. Sometimes we would cry and sometimes we would just talk and laugh the entire time, making dumb jokes. Those were the great old days where I didn't have memories such as these plaguing my mind and I was able to talk to him. We just used to have fun and I could trust him to keep his word about things coming back, at least when he would borrow stuff. When my life got messed with, I thought I would not struggle so much with finding happiness, but honestly, it was hard. I would perform upon stage and not feel a thing, participate in a competition, or do stuff that I truly found joy in, and would not feel a thing, because honestly, no one was there anymore. And the only person, if he was to still be watching, was to be in the sky. Soon my day's curtains closed, and I slept for the night as the fireflies buzzed around my yard. Chapter 2. The day started with a bang as my dog knocked over the chair in her excitement when I stood in my bed. The crash was unsettling, yet I know it was due to how clumsy she was. She once tripped on a rock and when she fell, a bird got caught in her mouth. But of course she let it go and the bird was fine. Sometimes we would let her go and watch her fall down the stairs since so it's not abnormal for her to trip like that. After I got up for the day, I let the dogs out and got coffee before I left for the day to go to a class I didn't mind, but found boring when there was nothing to do. Some days I'd bring games, but not today. I spent the entire class period typing and just typing, no talking. I just sat there and typed gibberish in which Isabel somehow understood when she saw it. I don't get how she understood it, but she did. The class periods passed by like pages in a book, and soon I was seated with Evelyn when she had a good amount of energy as she talked about electronics and automotives, as if it was her life work, which I never minded much about. I would give my input sometimes, but honestly, the rest of the time I just sat there and listened to her as she would go on long spiels about stuff. It was fun to listen to, and sometimes I would feel so interested that I would drop everything I was doing to listen to her. We sat there talking, and soon enough, it was our lunch break where Isabel and Winry joined us at the table to talk about games and somehow get into a small debate about something which was always entertaining. We would sit around laughing at jokes normally made by Isabel and Winry would, well, Evelyn and I tended to stay quiet. Sometimes I would think about other things like projects I would do, which book I would start next, and sometimes even about just how light would hit the window just right to make a rainbow. I always enjoyed looking at how light reflections could change anything like book covers, hair colors, and shading, and, well, even eyes. This concept of light intrigued me, making me study its effects on stuff, and sometimes would make me so drawn into its effects that I wouldn't pay attention to conversations. Isn't that right, Inaya? When we asked, catching me off guard. Huh? Isabel, knowing that I wasn't paying attention, put her hand on her face and said with a type of smile, "See, I told you when we I told you she wasn't paying attention to our conversation about different drag." After the word dragon, I already lost focus again and saw a lizard flash across the tree trunk outside, with the light hitting its scales nicely, making them shine a brownish color. It was kind of like bronze. Honestly, watching the surroundings outside brought memories I forgot about, like the colors of the sky, the night, the night Austin left the world, the jokes shared between Milo and I as we made builds and played games, even jokes made during competitions with Geo when it was all done and over with. Soon enough, the bell rang, releasing us to our classes. I spent my fifth period texting Serenity, helping design a game and just joking about joking around as we worked, since this has been how we worked. Most jokes would make it into the game, which was always fun, and only us two would know the jokes we put in there. The jokes were always able to be seen as just normal inside the game. We would make a lot of jokes, yet none really stuck except for what I guess we call the beeper squeakers. I looked around my darkened classroom and a movie played in the front, allowing us a break day from our work as the colors swirled on the screen. Willow would sometimes message me, and sometimes we would talk, and other times we would just talk. I'm still shocked by the conversation about eating ground salt to ground salt meant for the winter, which melts the ice. But there are dumb things we all would do. She eats random things, but is a social butterfly that is even tempered sometimes. So while I go jumping off trees as if I could fly. Honestly, in some ways, I'm super dumb as well. We are all weird in our own ways, like how Kai is really kind, but accidentally destructive. Milo disappears and reappears randomly, but can make me cry each time, no matter the conversation. Geo can handle what I can't and manages to keep his room as spotless as he could while living with animals. When we have such good memory in which she can remember the order of things that she finds important. Evelyn is chill and somehow chaotic at the same time. Isabel is just able to do anything well, even with no experience. She also is somewhat magic in the way that she can disappear, reappear, and to somehow be listening to the conversation when she doesn't seem to be. Ultron hyper fixates on stuff that he wants done, and it never looks rushed. Thus, can it never looked rushed. Plus, Can looks so tired, yet energetic at the same time. Ethan would have a bottomless pouch, and it could pull out anything, even items that you'd never think would fit in. Then Austin just was always there. Then not. I found it cool how I could find myself connected so well with these groups, even though I shouldn't fit so well. I found myself getting ready to head to class where I would be interacting with Kaya since I was supposed to join her that day. The class started as any other should, but I went to Kaya's instead of my own and we played games. Sadly, I didn't really get to play much against her, but it was fun, pretty much, playing hot potato and hitting balls out of the air that strayed too close to us. So, you ready to graduate and no longer have school? Kai asked, trying to hit me with a ball like she always did, since we would play a game where we would randomly throw a ball at someone in the group, but normally me, and see if they react. And if they do they catch it or dodge? It was a fun game to play, to be honest. Not really, but I will live, I said, catching the ball before throwing it at her, knocking another ball out of her hand. "Aw, why not?" she asked in a poking fun questioning way. I just shrugged. After a short while, I got distracted by a ball that got caught in light, making the white kind of, well, glow, which resulted in me getting hit in the head by the ball thrown by Kaya and deflected towards me. The ball hit me straight in the head, yet didn't really hurt. "Are you alright?" she asked, covering her mouth as if she was shocked. "Yeah, I'm fine," I said, with a small smile. And honestly, that game went from the one we made to a game of dodgeball, pretty much. This continued for the rest of the school day, and soon enough, we were packing up. The bell rang not too long afterwards, and After meeting up with Eltrin, we walked to the buses. Chapter 3. A few days passed by, and it has led all to this moment. The last day, and the day I collected my diploma, as I wished I could see all my friends walk across the stage, but I already knew there was probably no point after all. It didn't really matter too much to people, and it was a dumb piece of paper. I got to see all my friends, and but one in the caps and gowns, seeing how nice and pretty the girls looked, and the guys always looked really nice and handsome. I didn't ever get to see Austin in his cap and gown, even though he probably wasn't ever going to do it anyways. I was happy though, knowing that all my friends made it to the end and got to see this day. This was her day to shine and see a new page of life start for them, with the colors being vibrant. A day to be beaming with joy and cry out of happiness of making it past this checkpoint in life. This was a moment to be proud of, and I wasn't there. Everyone was happy with this new beginning from what I saw from pictures and from what I was told, which made me genuinely happy that I was there to see the day. We got a while left to go, and soon my brother will take the same walk across the stage as all my friends did, with a great smile as well. The days which followed were filled with celebration of the checkpoint and the happiness of families at this accomplishment. All I found that I could say was, "Congrats on the graduation. I hope your party is fun." It was weak and short, yet I couldn't find any better words. These days were quiet after the graduation, with all there being to work and to try to be happy for myself, yet honestly, I had nothing to be prideful about. But my friends, they made big accomplishments in which I was proud. "Hey, Inaya, I am so proud of you," people say to me, yet it kind of sounds fake. "Thanks," I tend to say, before changing my attention to my lovely nature scene in which the birds are chirping, making me smile. The trees lined a perfect picture of a clouds-covered sky, as butterflies flew across my sky, with the red admiral, silver forget-me-not, a white eastern tiger swallowtail, and a large tree nymph flying up to my hand before disappearing. Soon an almost completely clear butterfly, with a star on each wing, came to me, stayed for a while fluttering around me, and landed on me before it disappeared.